That is, when we were born unhating and unhindered, howling wetly with everything we could yet become. To travel back in time is to remember when all we knew of ourselves was love. Thank you.
Thank you, Zane. Thank you, Jean. That was beautiful. Thank you, Ari, for those thoughts. I'm Norm Riley. I'm a nephew, one of 1,000 nephews that Uncle Bill O'Fallon seemed to have. You don't know me. But Uncle Bill knew me. And that's why I love Uncle Bill, and that's why I miss him. He knew everyone. He made it a point to know who you are and all about you. Bill loved games and involving others in his games. So let's play. I'm sure you all remember that Bill wore comfortable clothes, some of which were torn, worn, weathered, stained. So if you're wearing comfortable clothes, raise your hand. Give yourself a point. I'm sure you all remember that Bill's clothes and shoes often had rips, holes, tears, paint splatters all over them. So if you have an imperfection in what you're wearing, raise your hand. Give yourself a point. I'm sure you all remember that Bill wore colorful clothes. If you're wearing bright colors or patterns, raise your hand. Give yourself a point. I'm sure you all remember that Bill was prepared. Or more accurately, he was prepared to be prepared. So if you brought a bottle of water with you and some extra sunscreen, or a pen and paper, a paperback, or your library card even, raise your hand, give yourself a point. Now total your points. If you have none, you didn't know my Uncle Bill. And if you know how many points you have, you're not like Uncle Bill. So take a big laugh, slap your knee, grab your glasses, hee-haw. Nobody laughed like Uncle Bill. He's just my Uncle Bill. But he formed connections with people. So he could never forget you. Nor would you forget him. He's amazing. Or as my grandchildren called him, great Uncle Bill. I'm sure you all remember that Bill was interested in just about everything, or everything that is fit to print. He devoured the Times every day and listened to books feverishly, or more accurately, according to his own internal schedule. He knew what time of the day he was to set aside to read, but words were very important to him. He needed words as much as he needed oxygen. However, he loved people more than he loved words. I'm sure you all have a special connection that you had with Uncle Bill. You knew he loved us and cared about us because he thought about us, thought about our lives. He wanted to share moments, ideas, knowledge. He was sending you pictures, sending you articles. He wanted to stay involved in your lives. You know, he was focused on you and wanted to know you. So I'm glad to hear the tributes to Bill today, but it was never about Uncle Bill. It was about you when you were in Bill's presence. I've had the pleasure of spending probably 120 days of my life with Uncle Bill over the years. That's only 120 days. I've probably spent more time with teachers and co-workers. Yet my life is much richer because of Uncle Bill. And I'll never forget Uncle Bill. So that means 120 days is probably 250 cups of coffee, 30 dozen cookies, 75 or so ice cream cones, 50 games of baseball, and thousands of conversations. about everything from raising kids to geopolitical implications of whatever is going on in Africa. He was always entertaining and never predictable. I met Uncle Bill in 1979. So Gene, thank you for filling in those years between 1942 and 1979 for me. He had a whirlwind romance with Aunt Kate when they married in 1979. I can't believe I met him in 79 at my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. I met him the same year that you met him, Kate. 6 months later, they're married. So I've known him just as long. And I was shocked because Aunt Kate, the hard-charging corporate ladder climber, getting married. Who was this guy? Wasn't she a confirmed spinster? She was 34, for goodness sake. How would she have the time to be a wife? Would she have to quit her job at GE? Those are all the thoughts going through our heads. Next, Bill had been a Catholic priest, a man of the cloth. How could we accept him into our family? A man who turned his back on the church. Needless to say, accepting Uncle Bill was going to be very hard. Except this quirky, charming, funny, supportive, and caring man made Aunt Kate a different person. She was relaxed, confident, very, very happy. So I saw that through Aunt Kate the first time I met Uncle Bill. He made a difference. Don't get me wrong, Aunt Kate was always fun, but she was always on her way somewhere. We were part of her life, but she was always going somewhere. Now it seemed in 1979 she had arrived. Bill was just like that. So I had a new uncle, albeit a very non-traditional uncle. We visited Westport, Mike, in 1982 to see Aunt Kate, Uncle Bill, and their newborn baby Billy. My wife Mary and I had gotten married in the spring of '82, but Aunt Kate and Uncle Bill were too busy to come to our wedding because they had a very high maintenance child in Billy. And I think I wanted to visit Aunt Kate to show off my bride because Aunt Kate always thought that there would be no woman that would be there to marry me, so I had to. And we got some experience on what an East Coast couple does in a married life. Their family bliss, but it was extremely non-traditional to us. Kate and Bill were just that way. Uncle Bill, to me, he didn't preach his philosophy. He just lived it. He lived in the moment. He appreciated time. He listened, learned constantly, and didn't take himself too seriously. He was patient, witty, inquisitive, storyteller, great conversationalist on any topic. He didn't need to footnote anything. He simply said, I read it in the Times. He was also a very late adopter of some technologies, which made him quite comical at times, but he eventually figured out a way to leverage them to fit his style. Above all, he was a great listener. He'd encourage you to tell me more, be explicit, show emotion. He'd sit there and say, oh my gosh, you don't say, no kidding, what do you think? And that would pull the thoughts out of you more. Great listener. He adored his family and knew that everyone was unique, genuine, and at times complicated. Billy and Johnny, you're very fortunate to have had your dad's guidance, and you've become a terrific men, and I'm proud to say you are my cousins and my friends. For Uncle Bill, things didn't get old. If you enjoyed them, they were useful, or they gave you useful moments, he never got rid of them. I have a shirt on from 1995 because it still works. Uncle Bill would say, don't throw it away, it still works. Whether it was a bike, t-shirts, shoes, coffee mugs, baseball gloves, recipes, articles, beach bags, he had it all forever. I can picture him now with his unique way of crossing his legs. And he would go over and his foot foot kind of flopped like this. I could see him putting the creamer in his coffee, but not before he shook that pint of cream so hard in the kitchen.